Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. This is Sandy Gabe. I am your AAUW California president this year, and I am happy to welcome you here for our conversation about the Community Hub. And I have a couple of announcements to make. One is that I live in the Oak Fire area, and while I wasn't impacted, we have significant internet challenges in our area because of how much stuff burned down. So if I am a little bit delayed in my speech, just relax, it'll catch up with me. I did turn the transcripts on, so you can watch there if you are having a problem hearing me. And I will try to be slow in what I talk about so that you can catch up. I have turned the chat off so that you can focus completely on what we're going to talk about. And then I will turn the chat off after I do a little bit of demo and explanation. And then we'll open it up for questions. And at the bottom or at the top of your screen, depending on what kind of a device you're using, you have an area that's called, you might see it directly, you might see your raise hands, or it might be under reactions. And if you look under reactions, you can raise your hand, and we'll use that in order to do questions. And then when I call on you, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. And I may ask you to share your screen. So if that's not okay with you, then just tell me, because I need sometimes to see what kind of a problem you're having in order to solve it. So I think we're okay now. In the background, we have several folks on the communications team. Dawn Johnson, who is the wild voice behind the California Connection, is helping in the background. Julika Barrett, who is our office manager, who many of you I know have talked to about some of your challenges. And Tracy Clark, who is our communications chair last year, and she is our board secretary this year. So they're helping in the background keep track of some of the questions that you ask. But why don't we go ahead and get started? Okay. So I'm going to talk about logging into the Community Hub. And I just want you to think about being patient. Okay, this is all new for everybody. And I'm going to ask you to suspend your comments around, it didn't work as I wanted it to, I don't like the way it works, it was so much better last time. Just kind of keep those to yourself at this point. We'll have an opportunity someday to gather all those and we can talk about sharing them with National. But really our focus today is to try to make sure you can get into the Community Hub and you can look at your roster. That is the focus of tonight. So you can save all of those great ideas for another day. I have a lot of them myself, and we'll just put together a list later. But today, let's just focus on logging into the Community Hub. So I want to share a couple of things that might be helpful. I've done a lot of troubleshooting over the last couple of weeks and with some of you directly, and I have a couple of observations. One is sometimes we're not even using the right system. So I've talked to people about, have you been able to log in? And what I find out is that they've logged into the AAUW California system, not National. So that makes it a little bit challenging because you can't find what you're looking for because you're in the wrong place. So AAUW National uses the Community Hub, and that's where the member records are, the member information is, where the dues processing is, and that's where your branch leadership positions are at National. California has a similar system. It's called the Branch Officer Reporting System, and all but 2 branches in the state have finished this completely. So I know you're done with this, and I think sometimes when people were looking at having to update their national information, they thought, well, I've already done it. So they were missing that part of it because they've done it for California. And the branch officer reporting system does a very similar thing, but it's really focused on our branch leaders, our state committee members, and it's what is used to feed the Board to Board, which is our monthly e-newsletter, which will be coming out in the next couple of days. You get to national by going to aauw.org. You get to California by going to aauw-ca.org. And there's another clue. The screens look different. So if you have the yellow screen, you're in the wrong place. Okay, that's just it. If you're in the yellow screen, wrong place. You've already done that. You don't have to do that again. What you're looking for is the blue-gray screen that's on the left. And that is where your functions are. That's where you can update your record. So you'll see things like my profile, my contact information, my user ID and password, that sort of thing. And we're going to be looking at my affiliations. And then you can look at orders and donations and all kinds of stuff. But basically, that's the difference. So the left side is National Community Hub. The right side is California Branch Officer Reporting System. And you're done with the right side. You don't have to do that. So we're really trying to get you to the left side, which is the national system. And the logins are different too. So on National, you're going to use your personal email address, what's on your file with National. You don't use your member ID anymore. Remember on the MSD, Member Services Database, we used our member ID and a password. That's gone. So now we use your email address and a password. And on the California side, we sent the outgoing president an email with their username and password in May or June, depending on how busy we were. And that's typically your first initial and part of your last name, and then a number for your password. So again, on National, on aauw.org, you're going to use your personal email address and your password, not your member number. There are a couple of new terms that will be helpful for you to recognize. So a branch in the national system is either called an affiliate or a company. Depends on where you are. It's not really consistent. And that's just part of the infrastructure, and just let that go. Just let it go. Okay, just let it go. The branch leadership team is called a committee. Okay, and that makes sense, right? It's a group of people, so it's a committee. And a branch member is now called a national member, and they have a branch affiliation. So they might be a primary member of your branch, they might be a member of another branch. But on your reports that you get, it's going to say national. And in the past, it used to say branch. So remember, we're all members of National. We are affiliates of National. We have an affiliate agreement with National. So the language really does make sense, even if it's not what we're used to. So if you have those things in mind, it'll make things a little bit easier as you move forward. I'm going to talk about a couple of problems in terms of logins that I've seen, and then I'm going to actually go to the system and show it to you, okay? So common login problems, people are using their member ID instead of their email address. People are using the wrong email address. So if you have an email address and you've changed it and you haven't told National, guess what? It's not going to work. So that's one thing, and that's kind of a big thing. The other thing is when they set the system up, we got several messages that told us we had to do a password reset when we first logged in. And it didn't work very well at the very beginning. It does appear to be working now. So that problem seems to have been solved. But the reason is because they set us up, they didn't know what password we wanted, right? So they're forcing you to make a password reset the first time you log in so you can choose your password. Again, perfectly normal process. There's a little problem with some people not getting that password reset email. Gmail is notorious for putting organizational emails into a spam folder or a social folder or some other folder, and it doesn't tell you. And I know this because I've helped people look for them. So it might not go into your inbox. So this is something to check. There are two ways you can check that. One is you can check by who it came from. So you can search by the from person, and that is info.sf@aauw.org. AAUW.org. So in your inbox, it looks like American Association of University Women, but the actual email address that it's coming from is info.sf@aauw.org. The subject line is going to be AAUW password reset requested. Seems pretty obvious. I had to do the password reset a couple of times so I could find this because it doesn't come from AAUW. It doesn't come from anybody that we usually recognize. So I did it a couple of times and I made note of it. So I would make note of the info.sf@aauw.org. That'll really help you. The other problem is some of you created a new profile or a new member when you couldn't log in the first time. I'm guilty. Very first day or first week or so, I made a new one. I figured, I didn't know that that was going to be a problem. But what happens is now you have a duplicate record and National needs to fix it. Because when you go to log in, it looks at your last record. So if my first record starts with a 5-3 blah, blah, blah that I've had for, 11 years. My new one that I created started with a 7. And when I go to log in, that's the one it goes to. It goes to the most recent one, but I don't have anything on that record, so it doesn't work. It says I don't have a membership. I can't get to anything. We can't fix that. National has to fix that. So we will help you with that. You can go to National, but what I've been doing is trying to work with Angie on consolidating the California problems and working on the California problems so that she's getting an email from me once a day with all of the people that I've worked with during the day and what the problems were. And so she's working on all of those. If you've gone to office hours, you understand that there are a lot of people there and sometimes you get your question answered and sometimes you don't. So what we're trying to do here is to help as many people as we can within California so that we keep them away from National. So we can do as much of our own troubleshooting as possible. And these things are really easy, right? This is training. This is just learning how to use the system. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to go to, okay, so let's see. Dale, you're on my first screen. Can you nod if you can see the AAUW screen? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so this is what you get when you go to aauw.org and you're going to log in right up here in the upper right hand corner where it says login. And it's going to take you to this other screen. Now, if you haven't ever logged in, even if you know what your email address is, you have to go to forgot your password, okay? It's not going to work. It doesn't matter how clever you are with your passwords, it's not going to work. You have to do forgot your password. Okay, trust me on that. Otherwise, you're going to log in here. Oops, go. Okay, so I was able to log in. All right, that easy. If you forgot your password or you never logged in before, you're going to click on the forgot your password button at the bottom. Now, this is the screen that you're going to see. There's a menu bar at the top. And there's a menu bar on the side. The top one, Personal Snapshot, takes you to this screen. And we're not going to worry about these other things right now because we're just trying to get into the Personal Snapshot. Harriet, I'll answer your question in a bit. So you can go to your profile, you can go to your contact information, you can change your username and password, there are some preferences, your education, all that kind of stuff you have access to and your members have access to. So this is where they change things. So I can change my contact information in here. I can change my password, my email address. You can also do that too when you get into the branch roster. Okay. I can look at, you're going to laugh at this one, my memberships. Don't laugh too hard. I am a member of every branch right now because National gave me the ability to be members of branches. And I got several emails from you guys who said, oh, gee, I'm so excited that you're going to be part of our branch. So I sort of am, but I'm just a visitor who's helping out. But if you have more than one branch, you will see them down here below. Okay, that's under my memberships. But the thing you want to do is go to my affiliations, okay? And I'm going to stop here right now, and I'm going to take a couple of questions. And let me see, where's my thing? Where's my cute? I want to show you my cute slide because I want to make you smile. If I can find it. There we go. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about, where's my view? View, full screen. Okay. So you talk about these common login problems. You like Yoda. He's supposed to make you smile and have calm demeanor right now. Okay, so there are a couple of problems with the login process that I know of. One is if you're using a mobile device, you cannot see those administrative functions on the left-hand side. I've reported that to National. So some of you are trying to use it from your phone. If you've been able to do that, then I'm going to ask you to raise your hand and tell me how you found it, because I can't find it and neither can the other users. And maybe you log into your account, but it says at the bottom, I am not a member. And the reason it says that is because you probably created a second very special membership account, and that's what it's trying to log you into. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what information we need to solve that problem at the end of the session, so hold on. But those are two things that can be fixed. All right, so I'm going to stop for a moment, and I'm going to ask Harriet, if your question is about logging in, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. And if you put your hand up by mistake, let me know that too. Okay, I guess Harriet, are you going to or not? Okay. All right, so let's keep going on. So the next thing you want to do when you get in here, oh, Harriet, go ahead. You have to unmute. I can't hear you. Well, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
I see no screenshots at all.
Okay. You are probably not looking at the Zoom window. So if you go to the bottom, of your screen, are you on a computer or are you on a tablet?
I'm on a computer.
Okay, down at the bottom of your screen, there's probably a little blue Zoom box. And if you click on that, usually the right window that comes up is this screen.
It says it's installing updates.
Okay, sorry.
It's stuck.
Yeah, sorry, I can't do anything about that.
Well,
okay,
I'm sorry. I've never had this problem before.
Yeah, I know that there was an update. I had a session the other day and everybody was getting updates at the end of the session. So hopefully it'll be done before we're done. And if not, we can talk later. I'll work with you directly.
All right.
Okay, so let's talk about updating your branch roster. So I've had a lot of people say they can't find their branch roster. And that's probably because it doesn't say branch roster anyplace here. So remember, you are an affiliate of National, so you're going to go under My Affiliations, which is going to show you your branch. Now remember, I'm part of all of your branches, so I have a lot of them. Okay, I have 12 pages of them, and they are in numerical order, not in alphabetic order. So that's a little challenging. But let's say that I'm going to just go to the California one. Okay, so this is the California. And I have a choice here. When I click on this, they call it an ellipse. I call it the three buttons in the blue box. But this ellipse, these 3 buttons in the blue box, brings up this little dialog box. And you can do different things here. So you can look at your company profile, which is an edit company. One of them lets you change your address and stuff like that. You can remove yourself from a branch. I wouldn't do that right now. I'd just leave it. You can set a branch as your primary branch. If you made a mistake when you paid your dues, you can change what your primary branch is. But we're going to go to Manage Roster. And then the last thing is the tax information. This is where your 990N, I think it is located, where you can sign up for that. But let's go to Manage Roster. Okay. Oh, it's not working again. Okay, Dawn, can you make a note that it's 7:23 and this is not working? So they seem to be running some processes, and so my California access has been a little challenging, but I think I can go to my Mariposa branch and show you there. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Mariposa branch. I'm going to say Manage Roster. And what pops up are all of these actions. And these other actions about joining and renewing and stuff like that, we're going to go over that tomorrow. Okay, that's tomorrow's session. Today, we just want to get you to find your roster. Once you do that, that's going to solve a lot of your problems. And then we can talk tomorrow. So all of your members are listed here. They are in alphabetical order by first name, not last name, first name. And if you click on the ellipse or the three dots in the blue box, you can edit an individual, remove the individual, or view the individual. Okay, so I'm just going to view one person. Don't tell Angela that I shared this with you, please. And what's going to come up is her demographic information. So her name, her primary affiliation, which is here, her email address, phone number, email, physical address, that sort of thing. And she's a national member, right? Because we are all national members with a branch affiliation. We are national members, okay? So I'm going to close that, and I could also edit her by doing the same thing. It looks almost the same, but it's going to bring up a box that allows me to edit in here, okay? And so I can edit it, and then I can save it. Now I'm going to do that, so it'll take me back. One thing that I've noticed is sometimes the back key, you get a confirmation submission error, and sometimes you don't. Dawn, can you make a note that when I went out of the record, I lost my functions? So I think that's a key. When I go out of a member record, I lose my branch functions. I'm doing some troubleshooting with National. Okay, so I'm going to go into committee management. In committee management, what's a committee? It's your board, right? You are a committee of the branch. So you're going to go under committee management, and this is where your staff are. Okay? And you can edit, and the only thing you can really do under edit is to change the end date. Okay, so you can change the end date. So if somebody was last year's member, because they let all of the presidents stay on through 8/31 to allow you guys time to make your updates, because they knew that people were having a hard time logging in, you can take your previous, previous members and just put an expiration date of 6/30/22, and they'll go away. You won't see them any longer. That's the only thing you can do here. If you have a person who is in the wrong position, let's say that Jody isn't the president, she's the public policy chair, you can't change her, but you can add her as a new position. So I'm going to do me. I'm going to add me. And it's going to look for me in my branch. So if I type in just my last name, it looks at the records in my branch. If I were trying to add somebody who's not in my branch, not going to find them. If I'm trying to add somebody who doesn't have a record yet, not going to find them. So I'm going to choose that, and then I can say what position I want to assign that person to. This is just like what you did for California, right? You put in the name and you say what position you want. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to put myself as programs, and then I'm going to have a start date. It pops up this handy little calendar, and I'm going to go back to July 1st, 2022, and my end date, because it's only 1 year, I'm going to change it to 23. And I'm going to go back to June 30th. Okay, so we're going to start, our fiscal year is July 1st, 22 to June 30th, 23. And then I'm going to hit submit. Now, if you have put an end date that is before the beginning date, you're probably going to get an error message. So think about those sorts of things if you get error messages. But now I have been added as the program person, okay? Now let's say that I don't want to be the program person. I did this by mistake. I'm gonna edit it, and I'm just gonna change the end date. So I'm gonna put in an end date of, let's make it 2022, and let's make it, we started it on June 30th, so let's make it July 1st. And I'm going to submit that. Oops, see, look, you get an error message. It has to be later. They're so smart, aren't they? So let me make it July 2nd. And then, boom, I'm gone. Well, I'm going to be, yeah, I had made myself program. So that's how you make people go away. Okay, and if you've already done that and you're looking for your officers from last year, you're not going to see them because they're not part of this fiscal year. Okay, so that's how you set up your committee, which is your board members. Now, not all of the positions are there. So you might have a position of zookeeper, okay? It's not going to be there because National sets it up just like California does, in that they are looking for how they are communicating with people. So they probably aren't going to have any emails to your zookeeper, but they do want to be able to send your funds person, your CU person, your diversity person. Okay, so if the position isn't there, you don't have to note it, and don't stress it. Just put the ones that you have here. If you don't have a diversity person, don't put one in. You might want to get one because California wants you to have one because we have a diversity committee, but you can leave them blank if you don't have anybody there. They are not required to be put in. You do know you have to have a president and a finance officer. Those are required, but it's not going to stop you on this screen. Okay, I'm going to go back to my affiliations and see if it will work better this time. Okay, so let me go back to Mariposa, which is on the screen before the last screen. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my branch, and I'm going to, so there are two different reports I want to share with you. One is export branch roster, and it's in two places. You don't know why, but it's in two places, and they are different. So the first one, and I'm going to wait until I have a slide to show you this. The first one, the basic difference is this one doesn't have the primary branch on it. The other one does. So if you're looking for primary branch, it makes total sense that you would be exporting the branch roster to find it, but it's not this one. So if I choose export branch roster, it's going to go in my downloads folder, and you can see that down here. And it depends on how you have your download folder set up, you know, where your files go. So if I click on this, it's now going to open it up. And so I have account ID, which is account name, which is our branch. Account ID, which is the member ID. So we used to call it member ID. It's now called account ID. Your account name, so that is your branch member. What kind of member they are. So Mariposa has all national members. We don't have lifetime members, and we don't have honorary lifetime members. You would see that in this list as well. You have their join date. So this is their original join date. So 2014, 1992, and then their expiration date. Now these, ours are all going to look kind of fine because we don't have any lifetime or national or lifetime or honorary lifetime members. Honorary lifetime members can have really weird end dates like 2100, 2099, 2174. Again, don't stress on that. That's a data issue that National is going to figure out. But what you need to know is what kind of a member they are. And then their phone, their email address, their mailing address. And for those of you who are not used to working with Excel, all I'm doing is double clicking on the edge of the column, and that expands it so that everything that can be seen there. I can also grab it and pull it, but double clicking it makes it go to the widest thing. Okay, and their zip code and what country they're in. Okay, so this is from that very first place that you can find it, which is supposed to be here. Yeah, so sometimes if you hit back, you get this confirm form resubmission. Okay, so this is a little bit of a bug, but we can get back there. So now I want to go into manage roster again. And I have another function, hopefully, at the top of the screen called export branch roster. Same thing, right? The other one said export branch roster. This one says export branch roster. You think they're going to be the same, but they're a little bit different. So if I do this one, the one thing that's different is the other one had a different name. This one says roster. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to show it to you. So this one, there we go. So this one has, it doesn't have the branch name on it. That's one thing that's different. But it has the member ID, and it says member ID instead of account ID. So a little bit different. What kind of member they are, first name, last name, email, address, blah, 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 join date, expiration date. But look at this. It has the branch over here, and it then tells you if it is their primary branch. Okay, so all of these people have Mariposa as their primary branch, except for this person. Wyrinda has a different primary branch. We don't know what her primary branch is, but she's not a primary member for Mariposa, and she's the only one. Okay, so you have two different exports, and they look different when you get them. So this is the one that has the information you probably want in terms of the primary branch, because I've had a lot of people ask for that. As long as I'm here, I'm going to do one other thing, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to open it up for questions. I'll go through a couple of more slides with you to just kind of reinforce what we talked about. So some of you have asked, how do I know who still hasn't renewed? Good question. Where can I find that? It's right in this report for you. So if you look at the expiration date, this person, I'll talk about that one in a minute, 6/30/23, that means they renewed, right? This is the right thing, 6/30/23. This person down here, 6/30/22, has not renewed yet. So you can find out all the people who haven't renewed just by sorting this column. And this person, March 31st, 23, my guess is one of those members that renewed early, and you're supposed to get 15 months, or we used to get 15 months. I think this is also a little bit of a bug. It probably should be 6/30, but it's going for 1 year since they renewed. I wouldn't worry about this one either, and I wouldn't tell National about it because I'm going to tell them, and they don't need everybody telling them that this is wrong. And if there, something has changed, then we'll hear about it. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my sort. I'm going to go in this top column. I'm going to go sort, and then I'm going to sort it. Which way do I want to do it? Let's go A to Z. Okay, A to Z makes the newest, the ones that are oldest up here. So you can see all of my 2022s are at the top. So now you know all the people who haven't renewed yet. And you can go over to this email column over here, and you can copy and paste into your email and remind them that they have to renew. And whatever great email you're going to give them with the link to renew and all that kind of stuff, and any instructions you have. But that's as easy as it is. So National didn't send out renewal notices like they did last year, and we don't have that ability yet to do that. So this is the way that you can do it. So again, all I did was sort by the expiration date, and then I find my 2022s, and then I can copy. So all I did was highlight. I'm going to right click and say copy. And then if I go to my email system, and if I start a new email and I paste in here, I'm going to do paste, they're all there. So highlight them, copy, and paste. It's that easy. I would put these in the BCC because you don't need to share everybody who isn't, who didn't renew. You don't need to share that information. But and then I'll now have it for questions. All right. So let me go back to view. Where is it? I know it's there. This thing. Full screen. I can find it. Okay. All right. I just want to reinforce a couple of the things that we talked about. How to update your committee roster. We used to call it our branch leadership team. It's committee roster under my affiliations, under manage branch committee roster. So you're going to, if you can't find your roster, you're going to choose my affiliations from the left navigation list. Then you're going to choose manage roster, and then you're going to use committee management. If you want to add a branch position that is not listed, you don't have to. Just ignore it. You do not have to put your zookeeper on there. If the person that you want to add is not listed, they don't have an active record. So a scenario where this might happen is if they are a secondary member to you, and when they renewed, they only did their primary membership and they didn't choose all of their members or all of their branches, you're not going to see them until that gets fixed. So that's one reason that they might not show there. If you want to remove somebody who's listed because they don't have a branch position anymore, set their expiration date to 6/30/22 and they'll go away. And you want to change someone's position, you have to add them with a new position and then put an expiration date on their old position. So if I want to go from president to program, I'm going to add my record as program, and I'm going to expire my president position. Maybe I'll do that. I wonder if I can do that for California. Do you think anybody would notice? Okay. And these are the positions that you have access to. Okay. So there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 positions. You don't have to worry about any other ones. Okay, finding on your branch roster, you can change demographic information, address, phone, email. Somebody asked how they change somebody's educational stuff, you can't. The member has to do that. So you can't change that. You can't even see it, frankly. You also can't change their member ID. So let's say that you know that they were 54778, but what you see when you go in there is that it's 774. You can't change that because that is a key identifier to their record, and National has to fix that. And then you can download 2 different branch rosters. From that first screen where you go into the branch, there's a download branch roster there. That's the one that has just the basic demographic information in it. If you go into the manage roster screen and do the download, you're going to get their primary branch. So the primary branch over here. So other than that, they're the same. So if you want the primary branch, you want to do it from within the download branch roster from the managed committee or managed branch. Okay. And then we also talked about you can use this file to find members who haven't renewed. You can use either of them actually because they both contain the expiration dates on it. So either of those works for you. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you. So I get emails that say, I can't log in. It's kind of like, please cut down the green tree. Which green tree would you like me to cut down? You're not giving me enough information, and you're not giving National enough information to be successful. So you get this whole email thing going back and forth. So we have to do a Zoom call. So there are a couple of things that you can help. Oops, they're in the wrong order. So remember to tell us your name, your branch, and the email address you are using. Because otherwise, I've got to go look you up. I have to go to the national list. If you just say you're Sally Smith and I don't know what branch you're from and I don't know your member ID, then I have to go find you. And that just takes time. Tell me what the problem is. So it's hard to help you if you just say, I can't log in. It's a little easier if you say, I tried to log in using this account and I can't remember my password. But if you tell me I tried to log in to AAUW, because I have had people logging into California with this account and I can't remember my password, I reset it and I didn't receive the reset email. And I checked my spam folder and my branch is Mariposa. That gives me a lot of clues to be able to go and help you more quickly. And other things to include is if you get any error messages, let us know. Those are like breadcrumbs. We follow those and we say, oh, if that's what happened, then we can find out how to fix it. And a screen print is worth 1,000 words. I can't tell you how many times I will talk to somebody and they'll say, but I logged into AAUW and I work with them and then I find out that they're actually in California. So a screen print, I just look at that and I say, oh, it's the yellow screen, remember? You're in the wrong place. Very, very, just helps a lot. I want to talk one more thing about the password reset and not getting it. I said to go ahead and look in your spam folders. There are some scenarios that National has identified where you may have clicked on a thing in My Preference that you don't want emails or you don't want to share your email with people. So there are some things that you might have done when you registered inadvertently that is blocking your email. So what I'm doing and what Angie's agreed is I let her know who's having those problems and then she can look and see behind the scenes if any of those things are in the way, and then she can send you another password reset email. And how to get help. So you can go directly to National. You can go to connect@aauw.org. Remember, National doesn't have the CA. Or you can talk to us and you can send it to webteam@aauw-ca.org. Either way works. And we will get back to you and we might ask you to do a Zoom call so that we can look and see what's happening. And we are working with National to resolve the issues. So I have a list of things that I've sent to Angie and I'm tracking that, and she gets hundreds of emails. And so what we're trying to do is anything that we can help locally, we'll do that and only send her the really gnarly ones that we can't fix. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and I am going to ask you if you have a question to raise your hand, and that'll bring you up to the top of my list. And then, okay, Harvely, is that right? Okay, so go ahead and unmute. Okay, what's your question? Hi.
First, thank you very much to you and your team for hosting these. Could you please speak to dual memberships? So I have assumed that under that category where it's showing primary, if there's a blank, I'm going to assume that they're a dual member, yes?
Yes, yes.
So the problem, of course, is with those members that struggle using the internet. You're smiling.
Yes,
So,
I've been down the path, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
What do we do?
So the first thing to do is to help your members do it right the first time. That is the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And there is a problem, or there is a function that doesn't exist yet today, let's say that. So if I register and I just put down Mariposa, but I forget to put California Online, then I'm going to just show up as a primary member of Mariposa, and I can't fix it and you can't either.
Right.
So we have to let National work that out. So what I would need, or what they are going to need, is what their primary branch is, what their secondary branch is, and then they'll have to do that. And I'm going to go over that tomorrow on how to set those things up. The screen, we went through it yesterday with somebody, and the screen is got this really, really teeny tiny type on it that says, choose your branch is. And then you get 7,000 branches to choose from. And so if you only choose the first one and you don't pick that up, then that's part of the problem. So I think, if we could tell our members this, that would probably solve a lot of problems.
So can you just do me a favor? Because I am going to sit in tomorrow to hear what you have to say about dual. Can you think about a member who's dual that needs to pay by check?
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I know.
Dawn, I know. Dawn, write that down. This is like the Stump Sandy show. Okay.
Thank
so
you.
Dawn's going to write that down, and I'll try to figure that out.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Toby. Toby, I thought we met yesterday. Let's see. Can you unmute?
Okay. I'm trying. If they pay by check, my experience is they have to pay, the dual member has to pay their dual branch by check, and then the membership VP or treasurer has to notify National that the member paid their dual membership by check to the branch so that National can update. My question has to do, again, with dual, so thank you for that. This other question didn't ask yesterday. If they show up as expiring, they're a dual member, shows they expire in 2023. Is the only way to find out is by the monthly disbursements about whether or not they have paid their dues, branch dues, dual dues?
So there are two. So there was a scenario where somebody went back in and tried to add on another branch, and it extended their primary branch by a year.
Okay, that's
and
not.
And then the payment. Hang on, just a minute. And the payments got all screwed up. So instead of it saying 2023, it said 2024, and so those have to be fixed. But if you are so ask me your question one more time, Toby.
Okay, it will show dual member expires 2023.
Yes.
Okay, that's only their national membership. Do we, the only other thing is we wait for the monthly disbursements that shows whether or not they paid branch dues?
So that is a place to find out whether they've paid branch dues. So I think what it doesn't tell you is how those dues were paid. So if they were paid online, then it should calculate and pay the branch dues as well. If you sent it in, if they sent in a check just to National, I don't know on the branch. You're absolutely right. And actually, it's something that Raleigh and I have been talking about, is this ability to understand who's paid what dues when, and whether they've paid you or whether they've paid us or not. So I think it's still an open issue, Toby, and
Thank you.
we'll take that down. Yep. Okay. Karen, Dennis.
I actually have two. One, of course, deals with the dual member dues. I have some that are not recognized, some that have been that said they have renewed by using the duals and it has not come through. One who has 3 dual members came through just beautifully. So, it's one of those things. And my concern was, and this has been answered, so I'm not going to belabor that, but I'm a dual member at Mission Viejo, and it took me 4 times to get them to recognize who I was.
Yep.
And that's taken, but I still have problems with somebody who's been a dual member, and she sent me a check. I sent a note into National saying I have the check, and I have no response. And of course, she's not active on my roster at the moment. So that's a continuum.
Okay.
Some of it deals with, I think, the 50-year members. We have several that are 50-year members. They are dual members, and they have to recognize them, one, as a 50-year member for me to get the information that they're considered dual. I understand that, but I have one member who has 3 emails to National on, I am a 50-year member. Where are we? I mean, I need some recognition. I have
Okay.
I've also done National saying, where is she? And she wants to pay her dues, but she'd rather not pay the full dues if she's a 50-year member. I have now had 6 emails to Angie, and I have
Okay. Okay. All right, Karen. Karen, I'm gonna suggest that you and I sit down and look at the ones that you're having problems with, and we can work on that together.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And I realize that Angie gets hundreds of emails a day, and I have only gotten I probably get that many, not as many as her, but it's hard to keep track of them over time. So we're just going to kind of let that go, and we're resetting, and we just want to start fresh, and I'll help you with that. So let's set up some time, and then I can look at very specifically what your issues are, and we'll make a list for her. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sheila.
Hi. We produce a directory with our members' information, and it's currently had their educational background. I don't see where we're going to get that from the current rosters. Can you expand on that for me?
Nope. That is my observation as well, that it's not there for us to view. I think that might be considered an enhancement, but we'll put it on our list of questions to ask about whether they have any plans to make that easily available.
Okay, so possibly, because we'll start producing our directory in August when we've got our members. We usually have it done for our September meeting, so it would be wise to say we won't have it this year.
Well, were you able to get that at a national last year that you had?
This is my first time doing finance, and I'm with Harriet doing membership. So I don't know how it was got last year, but I understand that they found a roster before, but I can't see where it is this year.
Yeah, so I don't remember, for those of you who've been around for a while, I don't remember that the educational stuff was ever in there. And I've done the directory for the Mariposa branch I did it for years. And we just had a spreadsheet that we put that information in. So I realize that it's in national, and gee, wouldn't it be nice if they gave it to us? So I will go down that path. I doubt you're going to get it by August, because I think their first priority is to make sure everybody can get logged in, and get paid, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, but we can definitely put on the list to ask.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Claire.
I was just going to say to Sheila that we just keep the old, our old list, and so we always know from the old list before you ever got that. It's just in the membership when you got a membership, you got that information. So as far as I'm concerned, unless you just ask your member to tell you that information, it's not worth waiting to get the national to help.
Thank you,
At least
Claire.
in my opinion. So I'm just telling you how we are working it out.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you, Claire.
thanks.
Okay. All right, come on. No more hands? Okay. Well, so if you were too shy to raise your hand today, because you don't want to fess up that you can't get in and you don't want anybody else to know, send me an email and I'll sit and work with you individually. But other than that, Peggy, you had your real hand up. I don't know, do you have a question? Hang on, you have to unmute. Okay.
I just have a comment, and that is just to thank you from all of us who are on this call and tomorrow for doing this for us. I mean, it's just fabulous. So I always think California AAUW is the greatest, and I still think that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, our job is to help you guys do your job. So we're trying. Okay, well, if there aren't any, oops, wait, Sue. I can't hear you. I don't see that you're muted, but I can't hear you, Sue. Your microphone doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so we can't hear you, Sue. I guess you are gonna have to just call me because I can't hear you. So I'm gonna go on to Harriet because we can't hear you. And I'm not really good at reading lips. Actually,
Hi,
I'm pretty bad.
can you hear me, Sandy?
I can.
Okay, I'm new to membership, so forgive me if I'm asking a dumb question. So we were told that if people join in the middle of the year, that their membership will start on that date, and we have to keep track. It's not going to just be June. That's the expiration date. It's going to be all through the year if they join throughout the year. Is that correct? And we have to keep track of when they're going to expire?
So I'm not sure about that. I heard two different things. One is that they were considering going to just an annual renewal process so that everybody would expire at a different time. I haven't heard that, and I haven't seen that come out in an official communication. So that kind of goes with you started in March, and it used to be that you went all the way through 15 months. Right. So that's on my list. That's on my list to ask and to get some confirmation on which direction are we going. If it were true that you have members that renew periodically and there's not a member drive any longer, you would have to use your roster, and maybe you do once a month, print that out and figure out who's expiring, whose membership is expiring that month, and remind them that they have to renew. And I'm guessing that there's going to be some additional functionality. I'm not certain, but it seems like, there would be a way for the system to be able to do that, but I don't think it's going to be in this first round.
Okay, that was my other question, is that it was so nice to have the invoices come out at the same time. So yeah. What you're saying is that it's going to be incumbent on each branch to do their own monitoring and sending out invoices.
If they've made that change. I'm just saying that I can't tell at this point if they've made that change and we haven't been notified, or if it's kind of a system issue that needs to be resolved. So that's what I'm going to ask. Did you guys make a conscious decision that membership is going to renew at different times of the year or not. So I will find that out and let you know.
And it used to be that we got something that was just a little link for renewal. So do we have to do this whole thing every year, or are you going to be able to do it from a link anymore?
That I'm not sure. I think that would be an enhancement that we would like to recommend. But I think they're not really in the place where they can think about enhancements right now until they get, everybody registered and stuff like that. So I would imagine that there's opportunities in the future. I can't speak for national though.
Okay.
But we can ask. Yep. All right, Karen, you're back.
Oh yeah, I have another question. Dealing with dates, because National's been undergoing all of this, when I received information that somebody was a current member until August 2023, I go, what do you mean August? It should be July 1st. And I thought, well, they have enough problems. I don't need to tell them. But the information is indeed inaccurate. So do I just gloss it on? I thought with all the information that Angie's going through, she didn't need me to tell about 2 months later and stuff. But I'm worried now that I don't know what to do with it. And I'm just saying, if you join now, you are up July 1st, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah. So that person might be, is this a branch officer?
No.
No, okay. So we're going to get together and look at your list, right? So
Right.
let's bring that one up there. Yeah, sounds like you've got a couple of challenges we can take a look at.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Okay, well, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for